for us, the center of the game is always the core player fantasy, which is, you get to have that experience of being a wandering samurai in the middle of feudal Japan. And that, for us, everything that we do radiates from that core fantasy. It informs the visuals, it informs the combat, it informs the music, it informs the weather. Everything is about giving you that experience of being a wandering samurai in a war-torn landscape.
There must be thousands of them. We will face death and defend our home.
Well, I think the center for us was the fantasy of being a samurai, and that came from really two places. On the one hand, we had finished doing the superhero infamous series of games, and we really wanted to try, we had in our head, we wanted to do something where we did a lot of melee. That was, for a variety of reasons, something we wanted to do. And there's a bunch of us in the core group, the creative directors, myself, the other studio head, Chris. We all had varying experiences, but all had really strong affinity for samurai cinema, Kurosawa films, the time, this time in history, the beautiful art, the location, and all of that came together and became Ghost of Tsushima.
The ghost. Some say he died on the beach.
Four or five of us working on this particular pitch, and we had decided we were exploring a samurai, maybe in this period, and maybe a great battle. And so we started just reading and doing research on all the different times and places, and reading a lot of the famous stories. And when we came across the Mongol invasion of Tsushima, this is 1274, this absolutely really happened. The Mongols invaded and then were eventually defeated. It just felt like we'd found it. It felt like you have that moment of clarity where you're like, oh, this is really it. This is it. This is the idea we've been looking for. It took place on an island that we felt like we could build. The whole thing, it had really clearly drawn protagonist, antagonists, especially if you imagine that it was such a one-sided defeat for these guardians of this island, that if anyone survived, it would have to be this really dramatic setting. In order to be successful in Ghost, you have to pay attention to your opponents, you have to adopt the correct stances, and you have to execute your parries and all of your attacks correctly. And so it is a little bit of a dance. And from our standpoint, we experimented with, it must have been 100 variations of different types of attacks and different ways that blocking might work and different timings, and it, for us, comes down to just the feel of the game in your hand. How does it feel, and how does it feel to play Jin? And are you able to have that controller that's in your hand? Are you able to have that kind of disappear? And are you able to feel like you're in the experience? And when we do that, that's when we feel like we're succeeding as game makers. A ton of people work very, very hard to try and bring that sense of place, to try and make it feel like it was transporting you to this place and in this time. That's a big part of what we want for our players. The project did begin with 2 trips, secret trips. Each of the creative directors led a team. So they also visited the location, Komoda Beach, where the first invasion was, and we were there on the anniversary of the invasion. So we were there for the celebrations that memorialized this great battle that took place. And even down to, pictures of the kinds of details on rocks and lichens and all the details that we could capture. The team went there specifically to get inspired, to bring back these details, to bring them into the game. My favorite part of the game are standoffs, because they capture that essence of that samurai film cinema moment, where you are standing still. There's a lot of stillness, which is unusual in video games, and we're gonna wait, and then if I time it perfectly, the same with perfect parries, but I think they don't have as much cinema for me, so I would say standoffs my personal favorite. Well, I think I don't need to convince players, because I think that the game is its best example. When you see the game played, even if you have never seen a Kurosawa film, even if you know nothing about the samurai, you can tell from the beginning that if you love playing, maybe you like being a pirate in Assassin's Creed, maybe you like being stealthy in Sam Fisher. All of those elements are present here, and you can see that when you play or when you watch someone play. So I think the most important work has already been done. I think we've made a game that even if you're not a samurai, zealot, all of your favorite movies aren't samurai genre, you'll find something incredibly appealing, I think, in Ghost.
If you continue down this path, you will be no better than the Mongols.
I trained you to fight with honor.
Honor died on the beach. The Khan deserves to suffer.
I am samurai, but I will sacrifice everything for my home.